I do want to celebrate, we all do, the life of Eagles co-founder Glenn Frey.
He was 67 years old.
10 years after the sudden passing of Glenn Frey, the sole and remarkable leader of the legendary Eagles, the world still has not stopped remembering the golden era of timeless California sound.
But you can never leave.
As the spotlight gradually faded, attention shifted to his son, Deacon Frey. For an entire decade, he carried the enormous shadow cast by his legendary father, stepping onto brightly lit stages while bearing invisible pressure that few could truly understand. Deacon ultimately chose to remain silent. Today, at the age of 33, he has finally stepped into the light to face everything, speaking for himself about a truth that many Eagles fans had likely already reached their own conclusion about.
He passed away after having complications from rheumatoid arthritis, ulcerative colitis, and pneumonia.
For many years, Glenn Frey lived with rheumatoid arthritis, an autoimmune disease that causes the immune system to attack the joints, leading to pain, inflammation, and reduced mobility. According to people close to him, the condition affected his health for more than 15 years and required long-term treatment with various medications. Alongside his joint disease, Glenn Frey also struggled with intestinal problems from an early point in his adult life. Digestive issues had been present since the 1980s and forced him to adjust his work schedule on multiple occasions. He continued touring and performing with Eagles, though his health was no longer as stable as it had once been, especially as he grew older. By late 2015, his condition became much more serious. Glenn Frey was hospitalized to receive treatment for complications related to rheumatoid arthritis. His medical care required immunosuppressive drugs to control his body's immune response. Those medications were also believed to increase the risk of additional health complications. During his hospitalization, Glenn Frey developed acute ulcerative colitis. The illness severely damaged his digestive system and rapidly weakened his body. As his immune system declined, he also developed pneumonia. The combination of multiple serious medical conditions made his treatment especially difficult. Doctors performed intestinal surgery in an effort to bring the situation under control. Following the operation, Glenn Frey received intensive care at Columbia University Irving Medical Center in New York City. As part of the effort to help his body recover, the medical team placed him in a medically induced coma to reduce the strain on his failing organs. Even after extensive medical treatment, Glenn Frey's condition continued to deteriorate. One complication followed another until his body could no longer withstand the damage. On January 18, 2016, he passed away at the age of 67. The news quickly spread around the world and received widespread coverage from the international media. Soon afterward, Eagles released an official statement confirming Glenn Frey's passing. The band stated that he died from complications related to rheumatoid arthritis, acute ulcerative colitis, and pneumonia.
I want to take a moment to talk about Glenn Frey. He was one of the original members of the Eagles, one of the founders, and I just want to take a moment to thank Glenn Frey for what he gave me.
The statement also thanked fans around the world for standing by Glenn Frey throughout his musical career. Longtime manager Irving Azoff also offered a more detailed explanation of the circumstances surrounding Glenn Frey's death. According to him, the medications used to control rheumatoid arthritis weakened Glenn Frey's immune system, creating the conditions for several life-threatening complications to develop. His statement attracted significant public attention because it provided greater clarity about the medical circumstances surrounding his death. Not long after the funeral, Glenn Frey's family faced another major development. In 2018, his wife Cindy Milliken filed a lawsuit against Mount Sinai Hospital and Dr. Stephen Itzkowitz. The lawsuit alleged medical negligence and delays in treating Glenn Frey's serious complications during his care. The lawsuit sought compensation for the losses suffered by the family, including the income Glenn Frey would likely have continued earning had he remained alive. The case quickly became a major topic of public interest because it involved a world-famous musician and raised broader questions about accountability in treating complex medical cases. Glenn Frey's family held a private funeral attended by relatives and close friends. Memorial events followed to honor the Eagles' co-founder. Fellow musicians, longtime collaborators, and countless fans came together to celebrate the extraordinary contributions he made to American music across several decades. One of the most emotional moments came during a memorial service when Deacon Frey performed Peaceful, Easy Feeling. His performance served as a tribute to his father, while also symbolizing the continuation of a musical legacy shared across 2 generations of the same family. The moment was widely shared and received an outpouring of heartfelt responses. From that profound loss, Deacon Frey's journey moved in a completely different direction. Confession. While Glenn Frey was still alive, Deacon Frey rarely appeared in the media. The family always kept their private life out of the spotlight and shared very little about their children. Even so, people close to them said he developed a passion for guitar songwriting and performing at an early age, drawing direct inspiration from his famous father. After Glenn Frey's passing, Eagles faced a major decision about the band's future. Many believed it would be extremely difficult to continue performing without one of its most important vocalists and songwriters. At first ending, the band's career was considered before a different path was chosen. In 2017, Don Henley officially invited Deacon Frey to join Eagles. The decision received unanimous support from the remaining members. Instead of bringing in another well-known singer, the band chose the person with the deepest personal connection to Glenn Frey, preserving the spirit of Eagles while honoring one of its founding members. When Deacon Frey first stepped onto the stage with Eagles, he was only 24 years old. He took over the vocal and guitar parts in many songs closely associated with his father. Every performance attracted extraordinary attention because it represented far more than a lineup change. It became the continuation of a musical legacy that had endured for decades. From his very first performances, Deacon Frey faced enormous pressure. Audiences naturally compared his voice, stage presence, and performance style to Glenn Frey's. That reality turned every appearance into a challenge, because even the smallest difference quickly became a topic of discussion. In many interviews, Deacon Frey admitted that period brought emotions that were difficult to put into words. He once used the phrase "churning inside" to describe the emotional turmoil he felt every time he walked onto the stage. On the outside, he remained composed. Inside, he constantly carried the weight of responsibility and the pain of losing his father. The subject Deacon Frey spoke about most often was not the pressure from fans. It was his determination not to let his father down. He once said, "I just wanted to make him proud." That brief statement was widely quoted because it captured the greatest motivation behind his journey with Eagles. Deacon Frey also repeatedly emphasized that he never believed he could replace Glenn Frey. In his view, no one could truly fill the place of someone who helped shape the identity of Eagles. His goal was simply to keep those familiar songs alive for audiences around the world. During more than 4 years with Eagles, Deacon Frey took part in major tours across North America and Europe. His performances gradually earned positive recognition from audiences. Many fans felt his presence brought a sense of familiarity because he preserved part of the musical style that had long been associated with Glenn Frey. In 2022, Deacon Frey unexpectedly announced that he was leaving Eagles. The news surprised many people because his popularity with audiences had continued to grow. After spending more than 4.5 years with the band, he chose to step away and focus on building his own musical career. After leaving Eagles, Deacon Frey devoted more time to his personal projects. He continued writing songs, performing, and appearing at events honoring Glenn Frey. Choosing an independent career became a way for him to establish his own artistic identity instead of remaining permanently linked to the role of his father's successor in Eagles. During several special performances in recent years, including shows in Las Vegas and memorial concerts, Deacon Frey continued performing many of his father's best-known songs. Audiences remained deeply interested every time he appeared, because those performances carried meaning that reached far beyond the music itself. After turning 33, Deacon Frey became more open about the path he had traveled. He admitted that the pain of losing his father had never completely disappeared. As time passed, those emotions became less overwhelming, though they continued to influence many of the most important decisions in both his life and career. Deacon Frey also said that performing with Eagles helped him fully understand the true value of the legacy Glenn Frey left behind. The goal was never to become a copy of his father. It was to honor that legacy in his own way. That perspective ultimately led him to choose an independent path. That journey has made Glenn Frey's lasting contributions to Eagles and the world of music stand out even more clearly. Legendary legacy. After deciding to pursue a professional music career, Glenn Frey moved to Los Angeles in 1970. At the time, the city was a gathering place for countless young artists searching for opportunities. It was there that he met Don Henley through singer Linda Ronstadt, beginning a partnership that would play a defining role in the history of rock music. Not long after that meeting, Glenn Frey and Don Henley joined forces with Bernie Leadon and Randy Meisner to form Eagles in 1971. At first, the group served as Linda Ronstadt's backing band during live performances. The four musicians later chose to perform independently and quickly established themselves with their signature country rock sound. Eagles released its debut album soon after the band was formed, earning strong, positive reviews. The song "Take It Easy," co-written by Glenn Frey and Jackson Browne, quickly became the band's first major hit. That success attracted widespread public attention and opened the door for touring across the United States. Over the following years, Eagles continued releasing albums that achieved both commercial success and critical acclaim. Glenn Frey played a central role in songwriting, arranging, and shaping the band's musical identity. He also served as one of the two lead vocalists, joining Don Henley in creating recordings that came to define American rock music. The band's biggest breakthrough arrived with the release of Hotel California. It is widely regarded as one of the greatest albums in the history of popular music. The title track, along with several other songs from the album, quickly became timeless classics, helping Eagles rise to the very top of the music industry. Alongside Hotel California, the compilation album, Their Greatest Hits, achieved extraordinary success. It sold nearly 30 million copies in the United States and received multiple high-level sales certifications from the Recording Industry Association of America. That achievement established Eagles as one of the best-selling bands of all time. Glenn Frey stood out not only as a vocalist, but also as a highly influential songwriter. He wrote or co-wrote many of Eagles' best-known songs, including "Take It Easy," "Tequila Sunrise," "Lion Eyes," "New Kid in Town," and many other recordings that continue to receive extensive airplay across music platforms. After Eagles temporarily disbanded, Glenn Frey continued building a successful solo career. He released several solo albums and earned recognition with songs including "The Heat Is On," "You Belong to the City," "Smuggler's Blues," and "The One You Love." Those recordings allowed him to maintain a prominent position on the music charts. In particular, "The Heat Is On," released in 1984, became one of Glenn Frey's most successful solo recordings. The song appeared in the film Beverly Hills Cop and quickly climbed the Billboard charts. Its success demonstrated that he remained a major musical force outside of Eagles. Glenn Frey also expanded his career into television and film. He appeared in several movies and television productions, drawing particular attention for his role in the series Miami Vice. Acting was never his primary profession. though his performances still attracted strong interest from music fans. Glenn Frey's contributions were recognized through numerous prestigious awards. During his career, he and Eagles won a total of 6 Grammy Awards and 5 American Music Awards. These honors reflected the band's lasting influence on popular music in the United States and around the world. Another major milestone came in 1998 when Eagles was inducted into the Rock and Roll Hall of Fame. The event officially recognized the band's contributions to the history of modern music. Glenn Frey and his bandmates appeared together at the ceremony, receiving recognition from music industry professionals and fans alike. Glenn Frey's influence extended far beyond his famous recordings. His songwriting style helped shape Southern California rock and country rock, inspiring generations of artists who followed. Many bands and singers have acknowledged that they were directly influenced by the music Eagles created. After Glenn Frey's passing, Eagles continued touring with a new lineup while maintaining its popularity in many countries. Every concert included a special tribute to the band's co-founder. The songs Glenn Frey wrote remained essential parts of the setlist and continued receiving an enthusiastic response from audiences. Behind all of those achievements was a remarkably private family life, where Glenn Frey always devoted meaningful time to the people who mattered most to him. Current family life. Before finding lasting happiness in marriage, Glenn Frey went through a short-lived first marriage. After it ended, he chose to keep his personal life private and rarely spoke about changes in his family life. That approach became his trademark for many years. A major turning point came when Glenn Frey married Cindy Milliken in 1990. Cindy had worked as a choreographer and spent time in the entertainment industry. After their wedding, the couple built a stable family life and stayed largely away from the public drama often associated with celebrity life. Glenn Frey and Cindy Milliken remained married for more than 2 decades. Throughout their marriage, reports of major conflicts or personal scandals were extremely rare. Friends and longtime colleagues often said Glenn Frey made every effort to balance his professional career with his responsibilities as a husband and father. Glenn Frey and Cindy Milliken had 3 children: Taylor Frey, Deacon Frey, and Otis Frey. All 3 grew up surrounded by music, though their parents encouraged each of them to choose their own path instead of feeling obligated to follow in their father's footsteps. Taylor Frey, Glenn Frey's oldest child, chose acting instead of music and has appeared in several television and film projects. Compared with her father and younger brother Taylor, has remained largely out of the public eye, maintaining a quiet life away from media attention. Deacon Frey became the best known of Glenn Frey's children through his music career. After Glenn Frey's passing, he joined Eagles as a vocalist and guitarist before deciding to pursue his own musical path. Deacon's activities also brought greater public interest to the life of the Glenn Frey family. The youngest child, Otis Frey, has stayed almost entirely away from public artistic activities. Very little information about Otis has appeared in the media because the family has always respected his privacy. Cindy Milliken continued supporting that decision after Glenn Frey's passing. Along with his family life, Glenn Frey's financial legacy also attracted significant attention. Several financial sources estimated that his net worth at the time of his death ranged between $90 million and $120 million. His wealth came from record sales, concert tours, music royalties, investments, and real estate holdings. Public records show that Glenn Frey left both a will and a family trust. According to several reports, the assets listed directly in the will totaled only about $100,000. Most of his estate was managed through the family trust to provide long-term protection and benefits for his loved ones. Using a family trust is a common estate planning strategy among many well-known American entertainers. This arrangement simplifies the distribution of assets while protecting the family's privacy. In Glenn Frey's case, the primary beneficiaries were Cindy Milliken and their children. After Glenn Frey's passing, Cindy Milliken continued overseeing matters related to her husband's estate and legacy. She also represented the family in several legal proceedings, including the lawsuit connected to Glenn Frey's medical treatment. Most of those responsibilities were handled quietly, with very few public statements. One notable transaction took place in 2017 when the family sold their Brentwood, California home for approximately $14 million. The property had been the family residence for many years. The sale attracted considerable attention because the house was closely associated with the peak years of Glenn Frey's career. Beyond their California property, the Glenn Frey family also owned real estate in locations including Maui, Colorado, and New York. These properties formed part of the family's long-term investment portfolio and reflected the strong financial foundation Glenn Frey built throughout his career. Along with managing the estate, Cindy Milliken has remained actively involved in preserving Glenn Frey's legacy. She has supported memorial events, worked with Eagles on selected tribute programs, and stood beside her children during meaningful occasions honoring the family's legacy. If you enjoy authentic stories about legendary music icons, be sure to like this video, subscribe to the channel, and turn on notifications so you never miss our latest releases. Thank you for watching, and we'll see you in the next video.